not searching for a wild excuse to put emotion back on hold. Too much has gone down. We know what you're doing, but do you feel the same way? You look sharp inside your pointed shoes. I have this picture hanging in my room, and I refuse to take you down or shake you down. We could bring you gently round if that's what you choose. For a point of view, I think you'll find it's true. 'Cause words like sand just get blown away. All the same, we'd like to say we need you. We need you. We need you.
What brought you back together to do the new LP, and was it a case of now or never?
3 phone calls.
Definitely, I think now or never, insofar as if we hadn't have made a record this year, it would have just been too long. I think we'd have grown too far apart. Very natural, really. It was, well, obviously the three of us felt it was time that we wanted to work with each other again.
It wasn't a case of somebody saying, right, it is time that you made an LP.
It was a case of people saying that a year and a half ago, and we said, no, we don't want to. We'll do it when we're ready, and we were ready this time.
Why did Roger leave?
Oh, well, basically, I think it just got to a point where him and the music business just weren't working well together, and he just decided that for the sake of his own peace of mind, he'd be better off getting out of it. I think it was the pressure of interviews and photo sessions and going up and standing there in front of thousands of people was not really the kind of life that he wanted to lead. You know, it was making him feel very uncomfortable about everyday life, so he got out then.
Now, Roger left in search of the quiet life, I believe, but why did Andy Taylor leave?
For very different reasons to Roger Taylor. It was just a natural thing again, really. John went on the Power Station tour with him and said that even then, you know, he felt that they were growing apart a little. And I went over to Los Angeles to see Andy actually in January to sort of talk about the new Duran album and try out a few ideas. And it was kind of a little bit uneasy. And then
Musically or personally?
Yeah, musically. I mean, well, both really. I mean, when he started driving around the gold Rolls Royce, I was a bit concerned. But anyway, I mean, it doesn't matter. I think the fact was that we came to do the album. The three of us really wanted to do it, and he didn't. He wanted to do a solo record. I just wish he'd told us a bit earlier.
He led me a right song and dance. I mean, it was because I came back off the boat. I was the last person to kind of get into the writing of the album. And I just couldn't believe that he wasn't going to turn up, and I was chasing him all over the place, wasn't I, for about 2 weeks?
The thing is that it's just ironic that they both left within the same space of time, because there really wasn't any rift. It wasn't as if, well, us three were in, there was this camp and then there was another camp. I mean, they both left for completely different reasons.
But Duran is now honed down to the most glamorous three, isn't it? I mean, has he gone off to find glamour of his own, do you think?
Oh, definitely. But that's fair enough. I mean, that's up to him.
When I decided to go solo was about a year ago, when I found myself with not a lot to do while Simon was being a sailor. And it was just like one of those things that I sort of fell into. You know, it wasn't in a sort of conscious decision, okay, now I'm going to go solo. It just sort of happened. I think the Power Station was the first opportunity I had to sort of play more rock and roll guitar, for want of a better expression. And then we went out on tour, which meant that I could sort of, you know, play things that I hadn't played with Duran. And it was actually from the Power Station tour that people saw me, and I ended up getting the solo record deal. So it really sort of helped me carve my way.
We're both talking about negative aspects of those particular projects, when in actual fact they were both incredibly positive, and we could not have made the new album had we not done. There's no way Notorious could have been recorded after Seven and the Ragged Tiger. We just didn't have the wherewithal.
I think we were just totally burned out, you know.
Well, no, we didn't know how to write songs that well. We didn't know how to write. The new album is just in a different ballpark to the previous records, and I think it's just from having gone away and worked with people of the caliber of Bernard Edwards or Herbie Hancock or whatever, the people that we were rubbing shoulders with on those projects. You know, me and Nick, all three of us had never been in a recording studio with anybody other than the other four guys. And I think it's really shown all the way together.
This time, shall we walk, shall we run? Through my head you understand. Does the body you conceal need the touch of someone's hand?
Have you heard the new album yet? I was told that you heard new parts of your album that was finally mixed today.
Well, we did all the mixing before we left New York,
Yeah.
and it was just being cut, so we had to have what they call a lacquer sent over, which is the actual pressing of it, and we heard that today, and it's pretty good.
Because everybody's really curious. The new sound of Duran Duran, is it going to be like the old sound, the Reflex? Is it going to sound all like Notorious?
I think Notorious is quite typical of some of the dance tracks on the album, but it's certainly nothing like any of the old stuff. I mean, it has been sort of 3 years since we did a studio album, and there is just the three of us now instead of five, so it's very different.
Which, of course,
for
is
the better.
easier to divide all the money. There's only three of you
You
instead
could
of
look
five.
at it like that.
Of course. Simon, you brought in Nile Rodgers.
We did.
Is Duran Duran turning into kind of like a project where you bring in studio
You mean like
musicians?
the Alan Parsons project sort of
I
thing?
wouldn't want to go that far.
No,
but
it's not. We're a band, we're a band and there's three of us now. If we need extra musicians, we'll bring them. We always have done before. We always had like backing vocalists come in, make the records and horn sections. It's a tight little unit, and we've been together now for 6 years as we are. The three of us making records, and if you're going to be in the band, you got to earn a place there. So we're going to be very wary of bringing anybody actually into the band.
We must be working for the skill trade. Would someone please explain the reason for this strange behavior in exploitation's name? We must be working for the skill trade.
Welcome to the 5th installment of my Duran Duran in the 80s album Deep Dive series. Today I'm talking about their 4th studio album, Notorious, their first as a trio. Roger Taylor and Andy Taylor had split. They no longer wanted to be members of Duran Duran for their own reasons. Andy Taylor wanted to focus on Andy Taylor and his solo career. Roger was citing exhaustion and I think just burnout. I think when he joined Duran Duran, he had no idea that they were going to become the worldwide phenomenon that they became, and it was just too much for him. He didn't want to be part of that circus anymore. So after the Arcadia project was done, he decided enough was enough, and he would not join Duran Duran again until their reunion some 20 years later. So anyway, it was a trio. So they supplemented their sound with former Scritti Politti Average White Band and Shaka Khan drummer Steve Ferrone and Warren Kookaburra Warren Kukachuk, however you pronounce his name. He was the guitarist for Missing Persons. They supplemented their sound or augmented their sounds with those two musicians. They brought in former Chic member Niles Rodgers to produce the album, and as a result, it has a more mature funk rock kind of sound. Now, Notorious was really the beginning of Duran Duran's commercial free fall. When Seven and the Ragged Tiger was released, they were at the top of the world. They were a global phenomenon. They had legions of fans. They were dominating the airwaves. And it seems weird because now it is not that unusual for bands to take 3 years in between studio albums. But back then, it was very much a case of out of sight, out of mind. And as soon as Duran Duran kind of faded away for those couple of years working on their side projects and doing other things, their fans and music in general had kind of passed them by. And so was the world back in 1986 begging for a new Duran Duran album? Not really, especially a Duran Duran that was really 3/5 of what it used to be. But they were smart enough to know, we got to move on, we got to progress, we got to mature our sound and do all the things. But they kind of stepped back into the spotlight to find that the world didn't really need Duran Duran anymore. Not that it necessarily ever did, but a lot of their fans had moved on to bands like Depeche Mode or The Cult or The Cure or whatever. And they were still seen as kind of that teeny bopper boy band to a lot of critics and a lot of their younger fans who had grown up. So it was kind of a rude awakening for them when they stepped back out onto the stage. And the album did fairly good. But it got to number 16 in the UK and number 12 in the US, which is nothing to sneeze at. But they just weren't that huge juggernaut of a band anymore. But I like Notorious a lot. I think it is a good album. I think it was exactly the kind of album that they needed to put out. Wasn't too synth poppy. It wasn't too far afield from what they used to be. But they definitely had grown up. Not only in their music, but also in their song lyrics and their image. They had matured. But it was just never going to be the same for Duran Duran after this point. All right, now let's get into talking about the songs on Notorious. So the album starts off with the title track, Notorious, which was also the first single off the album. And one of the things that you immediately notice on this album, it's very horn heavy. There's a lot of brass on this record, which is fine. It's definitely another way that they matured their sound. but there's definitely a more R&B funk flavor to a lot of these songs. Notorious is a great lead-off single. I love it 100 times better than the Wild Boys. Very punchy, very energetic.
Notorious, notorious. Notorious. I can read about it. Burns the skin from your eyes. I'll do fine without it. Here's one you don't compromise. Lies come hardly disguised. They don't need to fight it out, not wild without it. Bear your seed judgments. Who says that part of our lives? You own the money, you control the witness. I leave you lonely, I don't monkey with the business. You pay the profits to justify your reasons. I heard you promise, but I don't believe it. That's why I did it again. No, no, notorious. Girls will keep the secret. So long the boys making noise. Fools run rings to break up something they'll never destroy. Grand notorious slam bang. But who really gives a damn for a flaky bandit? Don't ask me to bleed about it. I need this blood to survive. You own the money, you control the witness. I leave you lonely, I don't monkey with my business. You pay the profits to justify your reasons. I heard you promise, but I don't believe it. That's why I did it again. Notorious. Notorious. You own the money, you control the witness. I leave you lonely, don't monkey with my business. You pay the profits to justify your reasons. I heard you promise, but I don't believe it. You own the money, you control the witness. I leave you lonely, don't monkey with the business. You pay the profits to justify your reasons. I heard you promise, but I don't believe it. That's why I did it again.
A cool way for Duran Duran to get back into the charts. The next song, American Science, is some moody synth pop here. It's probably the closest to the original Duran Duran sound here. It settles into a nice groove. I really like this one a lot.
It's a little bit late now. Well, there's times you will two-step and sway. Ooh, it's such awful manners. Don't keep me waiting, come and lie beside me. A little megalomania, it comes to you evidently. There ain't a thing you can acquire with your cling wrap plaything. Just look at this state. I crawl around in the days like a symptomatic case of your soul persuasion. Such a lonely place. Ooh. This room without your face. Ooh, American silence. All night long she can two-step and sway. Ooh, it's such awful manners. Don't keep me waiting, come alive beside me.
Some great heavy guitar work on this song. The solo on here, you could have convinced me that was Andy Taylor playing the solo. Take that, Andy. The third track is Skin Trade, and this has a shuffle rhythm. You've got more brass, kind of a Mick Jagger falsetto vocal by Simon Le Bon, some lyrical sassiness. This was one of the most unique singles we'd gotten from Duran Duran up to this point, and there were a number of club mixes released on the 12-inch. It's Duran Duran stepping into the late 80s with a more modern sound. The fourth song on side one is A Matter of Feeling, and this is actually the only song that Andy Taylor does play on. Yeah, what had happened is they brought Andy in. Basically, they threatened to sue him if he didn't show up, honor his contractual obligations to the band. And Andy Taylor was kind of the Ace Frehley of Duran Duran. He was kind of a pain in the ass. You never knew when he was going to show up, if he was going to show up at all.
Andy's coming, everybody! Back to your places, hurry!
And that's kind of what happened at the beginning of these recording sessions, is he had led everybody to believe he was going to be there when Duran Duran started recording this album, and then he wasn't. Didn't show up. They had to threaten him with legal action to get him into the studio, so he said fine. Laid down some guitar for this song, and then called his lawyer and said, I want the hell out of this band. So he is listed on the credits here, and of all the songs for him to play on, this one is the least obvious song that Andy Taylor would play on. It's almost a little bit of like yacht rock. It's very mellow. It's a ballad. Very far removed from the first three songs on the record, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. Just not my favorite song on the record. The last song on side one is Hold Me, which is the heaviest song on the album. Lots of abrasive guitar, great melody, nice singing from Simon Le Bon. Definitely reminds me of something that would fit well on Seven and the Ragged Tiger. Side 2 is definitely the weaker of the two sides. Not that there's anything wrong in particular with any of these songs, but nothing just kind of stands out and grabs you, with the exception of Meet El Presidente. The other songs are just kind of pleasant, funky rock tracks. The first song is Vertigo, Do the Demolition, and yeah, Vertigo is another Alfred Hitchcock titled song. Originally, the song Hold Me was going to be called Rope, so that would have been 3 Alfred Hitchcock titles for the songs on this record, but nonetheless, Vertigo, it's taken at a slower pace. Doesn't really go anywhere interesting, honestly. It just kind of follows the same template as the songs on side 1. Again, I don't dislike it, but there's nothing here that really grabs you as a listener. Same could be said for the next song, So Misled. I mean, it's got kind of a funky groove to it, and it's enjoyable Duran Duran, but it's not something that's going to find its way onto a best of Duran Duran playlist. It's not even among my favorite Duran Duran deep tracks, but it's not offensive. It's got a nice groove to it, but that's about the best that can be said for it. Then Meet El Presidente. I have no idea why this song is put in quotation marks or why El Presidente is in italics. Do not know, but this is another highlight. Very much a bouncy, exuberant pop song. Great melody, great beat.
November Tuesday, bend your rubber rules. Take your time, but don't take off your high heel shoes. She's in demand at dinner time. She's on the factory wall. And when the gentleman retires, guess who's in control?
Simon is having a lot of fun with the vocals. This, I believe, was the last single released from the album, if I'm not mistaken. But I really enjoy this one. It is a fun song. Winter Marches On is a slow, dirge-like ballad. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like The Chauffeur, although obviously not as great as that song is. As slow and as mournful as this song is, I do kind of like it. I remember back in the day really liking this song.
The trade's on. She dreams emotion to drink from. Her breast of fortune, dreams have frozen. Crystal in the morning, birth time rose, a thorn for coronation. All arise from your rest. We will find enough there to feed you. Soon you'll belong to the blessed. Spare us your lives while we need you. Loud is the music the crowd is bringing. Out of my head as the winter marches on. Loud is the music the sky is ringing. Out of my head as the winter marches on.
It's just very different from anything else on this record. Then the last song is Proposition. Got a nice melody. Again, these are good songs. They're not great. They're not magnificent. But it's Duran Duran doing what they do best. I mean, it hangs together well. It definitely has a musical identity all of its own. The next record, Big Thing, would not sound anything like this record does, but that is for another episode. So anyway, that's my take on Notorious. What do you think of it? Am I being too harsh on it? Am I not being harsh enough? Let me know what you think. And thanks again for watching.